a single arm row, and then at the top doing a tricep kickback. That is one I've seen a lot. That is absolutely shockingly bad. Hey guys, Coach Sean here with another video for you. So what we're talking about today is how long and how many times a week you should train. So today we're going to be talking about training and length of training in the gym. So we're not talking too much about, how long you should train with running, cycling, swimming, all the rest. It's all more specific to the gym. And it's a question of how long and how many times that has a lot of different variables to it. So if we take how long first we train in the gym, that in itself has different variables, whether you're working by yourself in your own private gym or your own home gym, or whether you're in a busier gym, a public gym, you've got whatever equipment you're using, the setup there, you're waiting around for equipment, all the rest. So by saying all these different questions, just know that the answer at the end of it is not going to be 45 minutes. You should spend exactly 45 minutes doing workout. It's always going to be, it depends on different things. So with that said, we're going to break it down as much as I can through this video to help you out, get close to that answer to see what suits you the best. So the very first thing we're going to talk about is the warm-up. The one thing, the non-negotiable in your entire training session is the warm-up, getting at least 10 to 15 minutes in. I have skipped the warm-up before. I have done very little as possible warm-up and just jumped into the main session, and I have paid dearly for it. So the main thing to do is get those 10-15 minutes warm-up in, regardless if you've got 20 minutes, you still spend 10-15 minutes to warm up, because there's no point in going straight into your main workout without warming up correctly, getting injured, and all of a sudden you can't train for the next 3, 4, 6 weeks, whatever it is, on the basis of trying to get as much as you can in 20 minutes in one session. That makes no sense. But I've done it before, and you talk about, I get away with it, and it will eventually catch up with you. So get your warm-up in, 10-15 minutes, addressing your strength, your mobility, your flexibility. Start building, start lightly, maybe doing a bit of foam rolling to start, slowly building it up from there. Keep working until at the end of 10-15 minutes, maybe you're going into some sort of squat, jump, sprint, slam, throw, something like that, something nice and fast, depending on what your main session is built on, and you're good to go from there. Or you can work on the ramp phase, raise, I almost forgot it already. Raise, activate, mobilize, and potentiate. So basically, raise is talking about increasing muscle temperature, your core temperature, getting the blood flow going, a couple different exercises from there. Just getting the body moving pretty much. After that, activate, engaging the muscles in preparation for what you're going to do in a session. So if you're doing, for example, if you're doing squats and lunges and all the rest, you might have something that involves squats and lunges, or glute bridges, different things that hits those exact muscles you're going to be using in this session. There's no point in just doing raise and then jumping on a treadmill for 5-10 minutes and then going to a heavy squat, for example. Mobilize, focus on the movement patterns you're going to be using during the session, whatever it's going to be. So sticking with the squat there's no point in having the entire warm-up with your legs straight through the whole thing without going through that range of motion, without building your range of motion through doing different squat patterns before doing a heavier squat from there. And then potentiate, gradually increasing stress on the body in preparation for the session. So like we talked about there a second ago, some sort of squat, jump. If you're doing squats, that'd be a great way to end it. Some sort of squat, jump, a sprint, slam, just something that gets you going that little bit harder, that heart rate up a little bit more before your session. So I spent a bit of time talking about the warm-up there because it is so important to do, and it's a lot of things that people neglect. So after that, in terms of time, it can really depend there. I like to say to people, sometimes a session can go, in the gym especially, anywhere between 45 minutes to an hour 15. And there's a big gap there for 30 minutes. And a lot of that could depend on the session and your training age. Like, for example, let's say you're doing 4 to 6 sets of a bench press or dumbbell presses. Let's just say, for argument's sake, you've done your working sets, you're building to your main session. The more experienced you are, the longer recovery time you're going to need, because you're more likely going to be lifting more and you're more likely going to be recruiting more muscle fibers. So if you're new enough to the gym, you're not too used to the movement pattern, you're going to be lifting light enough, which means that you're going to need a shorter recovery time of maybe 45 to 60 seconds. Maybe even less. You might feel good and go again. And if you're able to hit, let's say, 8 reps, and then you rest 45 seconds and go again, you hit 8 reps, then that rest time is enough. If you did 45 seconds and after 8 reps you hit like 3, 4, 5 reps, then more than likely you didn't give yourself long enough to rest to go again, so you need to rest a bit longer. So the more experienced you are, the more likely you're going to need longer than that 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, like up to 3-4 minutes you do for a rest in there before going back into it. Depends on what the program is. So it's actually longer for more experienced people there, which is why they could take up to an hour and 15 for them to do a session. The more novice you are, closer to that 45-minute mark. Like my training would usually be just to get in, train, get out, get done with it. Keep moving, keep pushing, rather than hanging around too long. So, like, at the same time though, I talk about 45 minutes. That doesn't mean 45 minutes is an absolute minimum. If you're a newbie to training, you don't have to train to 45 minutes, because what can happen is, let's say for some reason you're doing a lower body session. I like for newer people to do full body sessions, because they have more time to recover basically, and they're getting a little bit of everything in, so they're going to adapt pretty quick. Whereas if you focus the entire session on lower body, they're going to be domed up pretty bad, because their body's not used to it at all. It's only going to take a little bit to make people sore after a session, and you should never ever look at a session on whether it was good and bad and how sore you are. But like, you know yourself, if you haven't been to the gym in a while and then you do a session, you're sore afterwards, well, imagine just picking on that body part for 45 minutes. You're going to be in absolute bits after it, and there's no kick out of that. There's no kick out of not making people being able to walk out of a gym session and not wanting to come back the next day. But it happens all the time, and that's the sad thing about it. So if you're new enough, you could probably get away with a 30-minute session, 10-15 minute warm up, getting away with 15-20 minutes doing something. I know it's near enough 35 minutes, but 10-15 minutes doing something and then having a quick cool down and then you're done. It doesn't have to be all the way up to 45 minutes, which goes back to it depends. So that's one reason why it might be less than 45 minutes. Another reason it might be less than 45 minutes is if you're returning from injury. So in that case, you're going to be working on a lot of physio exercises rather than main different lifts and compound lifts and all the rest that come with it. 30 minutes is more than enough for one of those sessions. I would treat it as a longer warm-up, whereas right when you're getting to that potentiate phase, you might draw it back a bit and work on physio exercise your physio gave you, working on whatever particular injury is. 20-30 minutes in total doing a session like that is absolutely brilliant and a hell of a lot better than doing nothing at all. So that's my point there. There is no minimum there. Another reason could be active recovery. Maybe you had a hard match the day before, you had a really hard gym session, or you had a really tough run, cycle, triathlon event, whatever it is. Going in for a 20-30 minute active recovery session, and it would be like a longer warm-up as well in some respects, it is really good too. There's nothing wrong with that. I'd actually say it's better than lying down and doing nothing, because if you lie down, you're going to seize up, you're not getting the body moving. It'll probably take you longer to recover than doing a very light session and keeping that body moving and going for, as it says in the title, an active recovery. So that's pretty much my thought process. I don't really see sessions for the most part going longer than an hour 15. If you're at a very, very elite level, you're probably not watching this video or this podcast, so I can't really comment on that, but with the exception of that, an hour 15 is the absolute max. Most time I was doing PTs, I was going from anywhere between 40 minutes to an hour, depending on the person, depending on where we were at the stage, and depending on what we were working on in that session. But there are times and there is a place for sure 20-30 minutes workouts, especially if you're doing HIIT session as well. Actually, if you're just going an all-out HIIT session, getting sprints in, there's nothing wrong with. I know we said at the start of this we weren't talking about running, but let's just use that as an example, like 400 meter sprints. If you're doing 8 of them, it might take you 25-30 minutes, and you're pretty much gassed after that. Like, if that's going for as hard as you can, 400 meters, getting a 2-minute rest and going again, 6 to 8 of them, you're pretty much done for the session really, after getting a good warm up after that, and that'll take around 30 minutes, and that's still a very intense session. So time is not always, longer is not always better, is what I'm getting at there. So we've just talked about how long. How many times a week? Well, we are talking about gym sessions, so that could depend. Personally, I don't think you're going to get too much out of once a week. And the reason I say that is, especially, the only way you do once a week is a full body session. There's no real alternative like that. You wouldn't do upper 1 week, lower the next, upper the other week, because there's way too much of a gap. I still think there's too much of a gap doing a full body session once a week and then waiting an entire week to go again on it. I just think that you're not going to be able to see the results. It's just going to take it's too long of a gap that you're not going to see the progress week to week. You need to train twice a week, and from there just keep hitting the stimulus, keep building yourself up from there rather than once the gap is too long. So I would recommend strength training at least twice a week, 3 times max if you're doing full body. Especially starting out, you'll probably get away with doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday full body sessions, and then rest for the weekend, rest your Tuesday, Thursday, come back in Monday. That will definitely work for a while, and it's completely up to you and you looking at your progress and how long that takes. For some people, they might plateau sooner than other people in that one. If you find like you're doing the same sessions on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then after a while you're not seeing the results you're seeing at the start, I'd wait a little bit longer. And if you're still not seeing results, as in seeing any changes in how much you can lift and all the rest, or any sort of adaptation to that, then mix it up from there. If you're going to 3 times a week or a little bit more, we could do that. We could also look at different split options. Upper lower split. So let's take that Monday, Wednesday, Friday again. You're thinking, well, there's only 2 options there. But what you could do is upper on a Monday, lower on a Wednesday, upper on a Friday, and then go back to lower again on a Monday. So 1 week you'd be doing 2 upper and 1 lower, and the other week you'd be doing 2 lower, 1 upper. But over the course of a month, it'll all balance itself out from there. So that could be one split. Or if you start doing more than, you could also do upper and lower if you did, 4 times a week. I wouldn't recommend 5 really to anyone. But you could do the way I talked about with 3, but you could do upper lower 4 times a week where you did lower upper on Monday, Tuesday, break on Wednesday, lower upper on Thursday, Friday, break Saturday and Sunday, and go from there. It doesn't have to be that way, but that's what you could do on that. The other split you could do is push pull legs. So we've talked before about doing exercises that are not just for the mirror. So pretty much the majority of pull exercises, with the exception of biceps, will be those muscles used that are not the ones you see looking into the mirror. So doing different push variations, different push-ups, bench presses, landmine presses, whatever it is on one day. The next day coming in, doing all your pull variations, your renegade rows, single arm rows, ring rows, all sorts of rows, bent over rows, landmine rows. Obviously not all of them in the one day, but different things like that where you're pulling different items, different dumbbells, kettlebells, whatever it is. And the third day doing legs. The only problem with that, I suppose, same problem with the lower, is that dedicating 1 full day to legs, lower body, in terms just personal. Some people just don't like doing lower body, so that's when I do a full body workout with them. So they're doing a little bit lower body, but we're compromising by doing some stuff to do like doing as well. Because some mainly guys like more vein muscles, in terms of the chest and biceps and all the rest. So they might want to do too much legs. So I might say, you know what, we'll do full body. So we'll get a little bit of squats and lunges and the rest in, but we'll also mix it with your push-ups, chin-ups and all the rest from there. So we're all different in that respect. But I would say in terms of whatever way your split is and whatever way you decide to design your session, obviously longer is not better. If you start to feel real tired and less productive, get the hell out of there. You're only going to risk injuring yourself. That's it, you're done. And then mix stuff from there. If you are finding that you're getting that hour 20, hour 30 or so, and your sessions are too long and you want to shorten down, here's 4 different ways you can shorten them down. So you can do supersets. So let's say you are doing a full body session, you can mix it up. You can do your squats, and then after your squats you can do push-ups, and that could be one superset, squat and push-ups. The next one could be you do 4 sets of that. Then you could do kettlebell swings, combine that with single arm rows. So you're hitting your posterior on the next one. So you're switching up then. So you're obviously going to be tired after doing kettlebell swings, but you should still be able to do a different exercise that doesn't involve the back of your legs straight away or your core too much. So that's one way of doing a superset. 2 completely different exercises, throw them together. You can also do complexes. What are complexes? It'd be like getting dumbbells and doing you do 5 reps of front squats, and then having dumbbells by your side, or out in front I should say, and do, you know, RDLs with them, slight bend the knees, pushing the hips back and back up. And then that last one, stay down low, do bent over rows, or even drop to the ground, and you could do renegade rows and then do push-ups, and that'd be one set of complex where you're working the entire body, complete different exercises. And like doing 4, 5, 6 rounds of that could be enough for a session after you got that good warm-up in the start. Another thing you could do is combos, good combination exercise. We talked about renegade rows. That would in theory be a combination exercise. You could do renegade row in the left arm, right arm, push up, left arm, right arm, push up, and kept that going. You're getting more bang for your buck quicker doing those exercises. Thrusters would be another one, dumbbell thrusters, where you're in a front squat position, squatting down as you come up, pressing right up. So you're getting an overhead press in there along with doing a squat. There's a load of good combination exercises. There's a load of bad ones too, and I'm not going to get too much into bad ones, but I will say, when you're, let's say a good one would be a thruster. So if the front squat is tough and the overhead press is tough, roughly in equal measures, that's a sign of a good combination exercise. A bad sign of a good sign of a bad combination exercise, that's an awful way of putting it, but a combination exercise that would absolutely suck would be if it's hard for one and it's easy for another. Like I've seen side lunges and then like a bicep curl, whereas the bicep curl is either too heavy or way too light, which means the side lunge was too easy for them to do. Or a single arm row and then at the top doing a tricep kickback. That is one I've seen a lot. That is absolutely shockingly bad, because if you're doing a tricep kickback, you probably need 20% of the weight that you would use doing a single arm row. So I mean, I've seen people, you know, single arm row, 20, 30, 40 kilo, whatever, doing that. But those people would not be able to tricep kickback that, so they're doing a lot less than tricep kickback. So they probably do maybe 4, 6, 8, 10 kilo. Doing dumbbells, doing that, a good form tricep kickback tend to be very difficult to do. But it'd be very, very easy to do a single arm row doing that. But yet they still do it because I'm getting more in. It's like, no, you're not. You're best off banging out your single arm rows and a heavier weight, then go to a lightweight and get the tricep kickback in, which would be more of a superset than a very poor combo exercise. The last one will be contrast training. Heavy squats, barbell, goblet, whatever it is, and as soon as you're done, straight into a sprint or straight into a couple of squat jumps and stuff from there. So that contrast of heavy and then explosive plyometric from there. So that's 4 different ways you could do. Also, another way to shorten time is, and you probably should be doing this anyway, is focusing more on compound exercises and trying to lift heavier. Whether you're a guy or you're a girl listening, watching to this, lift heavier. Try and lift heavier with correct form, obviously. But with correct form, try and lift heavier. It's a form of adaptation. You're going to get stronger. Not necessarily bulkier, especially if you're a woman, unless you had your calories and everything else and check with that. But even still, it's very hard for women to get bulky, and it's also very hard for guys to get bulky if their calories and all the rest are not in order. If it was that easy to get bulky, I would be the Irish version of The Rock right now. I am pretty far from the Irish version of The Rock right now. I have just about the same hairline as him. That's about it. So, with that said, main takeaways on that: more and longer is not always better. Had to pause on Michael Scott quote there in that one. So if you're doing too much and you're frying your system and you're not seeing the results, you're probably going too long there in the gym. You need that recovery time for your body to adapt. That's pretty much it. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. That wasn't a hard video to get through now, was it? I hope you guys got some value out of the video. If you did, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the Coach Sean channel, which is somewhere here. And hit that button, subscribe to the Coach Sean channel, leave a thumbs up. There should be a couple of other videos around here for you guys to check out. And that's all from me, Coach Sean. Take care.